What it is, cuckolds, it's your boy the Hater, and I'm here with another video up in this mug. Hater on the road, by the way, so no Zen gong this time, cuckolds, no Zen ring, I should say. It's not really a gong, it's more of a ringing sound. But I'm gonna bring that back up soon, cuckwads. Now, the video today is about a very, very important topic, right? Fundamentally, the WWE has sold its soul. Now, I know you're probably thinking, wait a second, Hater, wasn't Cookie Rhodes supposed to sell his soul to The Rock? Well, that was supposed to happen, I guess, but that doesn't mean anything because WWE, cucks, has lost its soul. Maybe it sold its soul, but it sure as shit lost its soul. That's a fact, right? WWE used to be a culture bulwark, right? It was both a show and a concept and a company that pushed the culture forward, but it was also a vanguard, a bulwark, like I said, a defense, a shield against people that didn't want the things that WWE was showing, right? Because it wasn't just WWE. The late 90s were a wild time. We had shows like South Park, wrestling obviously was a big one, and a few other shows that didn't make it that aren't still around, right? Including WCW. But these shows aimed to push the envelope on what was and was not acceptable, right? You could think of a show like Jerry Springer, right? Now, because of that, WWE had a lot of soul, you know what I mean? It had a lot of identity. It had a lot of, mainstream appeal. And even if it wasn't appealing to people, it had a lot of mainstream discussions surrounding it, right? Nowadays, the company may as well be dead, right? This is the corporate version of the WWE. Now, some of you dipshits are thinking, well, WWE was already a corporation, Hater. Yes, I am aware that on paper, at some point, WWE became a public corporation at that when they went public, right? And ever since then, things have kind of hit the fan one way or another, right? It's because WWE went public that they went PG, right? Because the shareholders didn't want to be associated with such lewd and profane, television, right? Fine, I get it. I personally never thought that you have to be like, vile and lewd to be good. It personally, in my opinion, helps, but you don't have to do it, right? You can have a very compelling storyline with PG-13, right? A lot of good movies are PG-13 movies, People seem to like the Marvel movies. Aren't they all PG-13 up in this bitch? You know what I'm saying? So the point is, it's not that, but that was the catalyst, right? Different people have now taken the reins, right? I don't want to beat a dead horse and say we need Vince McMahon back, but we clearly do. The problem is, there's this discussion that people are having, right? Whether, there's a rumor apparently that The Rock is trying to replace Triple H. Some people say The Rock's in charge. Some say Triple H is in charge. Some say Ari Emanuel's in charge. Some say Scooby-Doo is in charge. It doesn't matter what people say, cucks. The point is, whoever's in charge is a sellout, right? Now, we can spend all day saying The Rock is a sellout, or Triple H is a sellout, or I suppose Ari Emanuel is a sellout, even though, he can't really be a sellout because he's the one who bought it. But you understand what I'm saying, right? The point is, WWE has sold its soul for a bunch of money, which is one thing. I can understand. Believe you me, almost nobody, if you look at the Hater, almost nobody in this globe is more attuned to the concepts of business and the necessary things that must be done for a business to be profitable than me, at least in this space, right? Because I am fully attuned. I completely understand. You got to watch out for your bottom dollar, and that's what matters the most, no doubt, especially for a publicly traded company. Now, that being said, that's not the issue here, right? I'm not upset at all that WWE is pursuing money over other things. My concern is that in today's day and age, if WWE had followed, let's just say, the Attitude Era formula, they would be making more money, in my opinion, right? A lot of the revenue that WWE gets today that makes it very profitable hinges almost entirely on new forms of revenue, new streams, I should say, of revenue, right? So, for example, back in 1997, we had the internet, right? In 2001, we had the internet, but we didn't have YouTube and the monetization of social media in general. So now WWE can put things on the social media and actually make a lot of money, right? You know, if they had that in the Attitude Era, can you imagine how much more money they'd make? Can you imagine how many more views, like Trish being put through a table while wearing a thong, would generate compared to like Jey Uso? Do you understand what I'm saying? The point is, the strategy is what bothers me. Now, again, who am I, right? Who the hell is a hater? Who are you? Who is Chris Van Vliet? Who is Dave Meltzer? Hell, who is Vince McMahon at this point to judge the strategy of the company, right? I'm not judging the strategy as being ineffective because they understand whether it is and it isn't ineffective, and they're going to do it like they're going to do it. I judge the opportunity cost. This is becoming an economics lesson to you dumb fucks. So the point is, in economics, we have a concept called the opportunity cost, right? Which is basically what you lose out on when you do something. So for example, if I want to go to the movies, I can't stay home and play video games, right? If I go to the movies, playing video games at home is the opportunity cost, right? With that being said, the opportunity cost here, in my opinion, is also not just, obviously, in my opinion, copious amounts of more money. It's also your soul. You understand me? There's an element of soul that goes into this. The fact of the matter is that as it stands, WWE has chosen simple profits that are not going to be sustainable. There will come a point, like, believe you me, motherfuckers, the ratings are going to keep going down and down and down and down. Like, you just wait till Cena is done and they're going to tank, right? No Cookie Rhodes is showing up. Roman Reigns is going to come whenever the fuck he wants. It is what it is, but these are just the facts, motherfuckers. The reality is, whether we like it or not, these situations where all this free money effectively is being given is not, working out, right? WWE has sold its soul. Now, people oftentimes don't want to address the problem, so they do something called blame shifting, right? So we have The Rock shifting blame, let's say, to Triple H, theoretically at least, if the rumors are to be believed, and vice versa, right? But someone has to answer for it. The figurehead that has to answer for it is not important, right? If they choose to represent WWE as just the WWE because they don't have the balls to stand by their choices, that's fine. But you got to recognize that shit. And if nobody says, wait a second, we fucked up, it's time to fix this. I don't mean to the public, I mean like behind closed doors, If nobody does this, then we got a problem, right? We got a problem. And if nobody corrects this, soul selling, if nobody buys the soul back, if you will, right? Then WWE is going to keep going down and down and down. When WWE had a soul, right? You saw its presence. You saw how important it was culturally. People couldn't wait to discuss WWE and to watch WWE and to hypothesize about what's going to happen in WWE. Nowadays, the hypotheses of people are just completely retarded. I remember one time there was something where it was like, someone was like CM Punk, when he was doing the Summer of Punk thing, people were like, oh, what I think is going to happen, like on the internet. And then at a bar, this one guy told me, he's like, I think CM Punk is going to beat Cena and he's going to say, I'm only coming back if like Claudio Castagnoli and fucking, whatever the fuck the guy's name is, Chris Hero, come back with me, right? And I'm like, nobody's going to give a shit about that. Like, that's not going to happen, right? So that's where we're at now. The soul has been deteriorating for quite some time now. But in order to capture that spark, right, to capture that soul, we need people that care. Maybe this recent round of layoffs, based on what I've heard, one of the situations was that these people were considered to be lazy, right? Maybe that's a step in the right direction. I don't know. We'll see. But as it stands now, you turn on WWE and you see the Prime logo, you see other logos that are not WWE, and you remember why Vince McMahon didn't have any of this shit, right? Because it cheapens the presentation. WWE is supposed to exist effectively in its own world, right? Once in a while, they might do a promotion, but not this kind of shameless shit, Not every 10 seconds. You're just promoting things. At this point, WWE is a marketing company. Wrestling is tangential to it. They are just a mass media marketing company. With that being said, go fuck yourselves, cuckolds.